Okay. Okay, I'll call this meeting or this public hearing to order. I'd like to recognize and appreciate that we're holding this hearing within the traditional territories of Tishat and Hookachesset First Nations. My name is Susan Roth. I'm the Director for Beaver Creek Electoral Area. I'd like to introduce you to ACRD Planning Staff Alex Dyer, Planning Manager Carrie Waugh, Planning Assistant Brooke Eschuk, Junior Planner Jason Kevis, Bylaw Enforcement Officer. This hearing is being held in the ACRD boardroom and electronically by Zoom. It's being recorded and is live streaming on the ACRD website. Would staff please provide direction and instruction on how to participate in this hearing?
Thank you. And if anybody's watching online, thank you for joining us here. We have a couple members in the boardroom and staff and the director as well. So if you are watching the live stream on the website and wish to join the meeting, the details and how to connect can be found in the Zoom meeting invite document that's linked on the public hearing webpage. We want to just quickly start off, I guess, by highlighting some of the tools in Zoom that you'll use if you do join the meeting. If you are participating online, you have the option to turn on or off your video or mute and unmute your audio. We should ask that you keep your audio muted unless you're asked to speak, just to reduce the background noise. There will be an opportunity to speak after the staff presentation, and the applicants have an opportunity to present as well. So when the chair calls on any members of the public to speak, we ask that you either put your hand up or call out that you would like to comment. Once you have been recognized by the chair, we ask that you state your name and your address, followed by your comments or questions. And then finally, when using the Zoom, there's also a chat feature from the controls on your screen. If you would like to make a comment or ask a question at any time, all comments will be addressed by staff during the public hearing. So feel free to add anything if you're thinking of it as we move along. These comments will be brought forward when the chair asks for public comments. And there will also be a final opportunity prior to the end of the public hearing to make any final comments on bylaw as well. Hopefully that helps. And again, if you are watching on the live stream online and wish to join in, the Zoom meeting invite details are on the website. Thank you.
Okay, the subject of this hearing is Bylaw P1474. This bylaw is applicable to 6399 Walker Road and is necessary to facilitate subdivision to a 0.24 hectare minimum lot size. If you have questions or comments about any other unrelated topic, I ask that you contact Regional District staff after this hearing has been terminated. Would staff now read out the notice of public hearing?
Public hearing for proposed development in electoral area E, Beaver Creek, has been scheduled to consider application RE 22015, bylaw P1474. Hearing details when Tuesday, November 28th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Where electronic, call-in, or in-person attendance at the Alberta Clockwart Regional District or ACRD office located at 3008 5th Avenue, Port Alberta, BC. Property owner and applicant John Gilmore. The subject property is located at 6399 Walker Road and is legally described as Lot 4, District Lot 24, Alberta District Plan 15614, except Parcel A, DDA 90953 thereof. Bylaw P1474 is necessary to facilitate subdivision to a 0.24 hectare minimum lot size. Bylaw P1474 is a zoning atlas amendment bylaw to rezone the subject property from small holdings A1 district to acreage residential RA3 district. Public hearing will be held by the Director for Electoral Area E, the alternate director, or the chairperson of the regional district. The board resolution making this delegation, copies of bylaw P1474 and all relevant background documents are available for review at the ACRD office and are available as supplementary information on the ACRD website at www.acrd.bc.ca/events/28-11-2023. Now, planning staff are available to answer questions in person, through email, or by phone during regular office hours, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, from November 14, 2023 to November 28, 2023, excluding statutory holidays. Anyone who feels their interest in property will be affected by the proposed bylaw will be afforded a reasonable opportunity to be heard. You can participate in the public hearing in person, electronically, or by phone. Full instructions to do so can be provided by contacting planning staff. In addition, participation instructions are included in the supplementary information available online at www.acrd.bc.ca/events/28-11-2023. Public hearing will be conducted from the ACRD office at 3008 5th Avenue, Port Alberta, BC. Written correspondence can be submitted to the ACRD by hard copy delivered to the ACRD office in person or by mail, or an email sent to publichearings@acrd.bc.ca. Email submissions will only be considered received if receipt confirmation is provided by ACRD staff. And finally, written submissions can be provided at the public hearing or in advance. Written submissions provided in advance of the public hearing must be received no earlier than 8 a.m. on November 14th, 2023, and no later than 4 p.m. on November 28th, 2023. Submissions provided ahead of the public hearing outside of these parameters will not be included. If you have any questions, planning staff are available to provide assistance during normal office hours, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, excluding statutory holidays, and we can be reached at Alberni Clackamas Regional District Planning Department, 3008 Fifth Avenue, Port Alberni, BC, V9Y2E3, phone number 250-720-2700, and email planning@acrd.bc.ca. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, the purpose of a public hearing is to receive input, written and verbal, from any person who believes that their interest in property is affected by the bylaw. Members of the public will be allotted 5 minutes to provide their comments at first time. We will hear everyone wishing to speak for the first time before allowing second comments. Each time a member of the public provides their comments, they will be allotted a maximum of 5 minutes. A person can come to the speaker's podium as many times as required, provided the person is providing information not previously presented at a public hearing. The Board of Directors will receive full minutes of this hearing before voting on the bylaw. Staff are taking minutes that summarize the issues raised. Please speak clearly to ensure accuracy. Would staff please introduce the proposal?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the agency referral responses that we've received. The responses that we have received either noted that their interests were unaffected or recommended that the rezoning application be approved, subject to the conditions outlined in the responses. Now, copies of these agency referral responses are available here in the boardroom at the back, and I think you have some there, Director Roth. And the agency responses are also linked on the ACRD website as well, if you're watching online. These agency responses will form part of the public hearing report that will be considered by the board. There was no public correspondence received during the public notice period ahead of this public hearing, so there's nothing to add there. The proposal itself is a rezoning application, as I mentioned in the notice, for a property located at 6399 Walker Road. That's the Beaver Creek area. Property owners intend to rezone the 4-acre property from A1 district to RA3 district in order to accommodate the applicant's proposed 3-lot subdivision. The property is designated as a residential use in the Beaver Creek OCP, which supports subdivision to a 0.6 acre minimum where the lots are connected to community water. Just a bit of history on the application. At the June 28th meeting, the board resolved to proceed with considering first reading of the bylaws following public notice. So after the public notice of the rezoning application was advertised, the board considered the application again on July 26th, where one letter of correspondence was received from the public, and that expressed concerns about the addition of more houses on the property. The letter was received by the board on July 26th, and at that meeting, the board gave the bylaw first reading and then resolved to hold a public hearing to gather any additional input. The background information and the 2 board reports and the letter that was received by the board previously, again, hard copies are available here in the boardroom, and there are copies linked online as well if you'd like to see it. So when the board considered the zoning amendment for first reading in July, they confirmed that adoption of bylaw P 1474 would be subject to meeting the technical referral agency requirements. And just want to highlight those a little bit. The applicants have submitted an assessment already from a registered on-site wastewater practitioner that indicates that the island health sewerage system regulation requirements can be met on each of those 3 lots. And then on community water, so if the subdivision application proceeds, the applicants will also need to meet any requirements of the Beaver Creek water system. And that includes development cost charges for each of the lots or each of the new lots, and satisfying any connection requirements that are identified at the subdivision stage. And I think I will leave it at that.
Okay. Would the applicant like to add anything?
Good evening, Director Roth, Alex, Brooke, Jason, and Carrie. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Rachel Hamling from Prism Land Surveying, and I'm here with the owner, John Gilmore. He is the property owner. Thank you, Alex, for summarizing the application. I'll just recap a couple things. So we, again, are applying for a zoning amendment of this property to change the zoning from A1 with a 2-acre minimum parcel size to RA3, which would reduce the minimum parcel size to 0.6 of an acre or 0.24 hectares. The property is 4 acres, and the zoning amendment is to facilitate a 3-lot subdivision. That was shown on the proposed subdivision prepared by Prism Land Surveying. So the ACRD zoning and Beaver Creek official community plan supports higher density and recognizes that there is a need for additional housing and diversity to increase affordability and supply. And so we feel that this proposal would accomplish just that. The proposed zoning would also be consistent with many other properties that have in the area that have been recently rezoned and then subdivided. The property has 2 existing dwellings and a shop that will remain. The proposal is to subdivide, so each dwelling would be on a separate titled property along Walker Road. That would be proposed lots A and B. And the third lot is at the rear of the property, and that would be accessed by a 6-meter wide panhandle. So as the property already has 2 existing homes on the property, there is a potential for only 1 new primary dwelling on proposed lot C at the rear. Again, the property will be serviced by Beaver Creek Water and individual septic systems. Jim Anderson is a registered on-site wastewater practitioner. He assessed the soils to ensure that they meet Island Health subdivision standards and regulations. The report was very favorable to the development, so there was no concerns regarding existing or future septic systems. I will note that because the existing dwellings on proposed lot A and B were built to the current A1 setbacks, variance will be required to recognize the siting of the buildings in the proposed RA3 zone. Variances are typically dealt with during the subdivision stage, so I just want to be clear that about them right now. So I hope this gives you a brief summary, and thank you for allowing us to join you this evening.
Okay. We will now hear from members of the public. Do I need to read it all?
No, so yeah, thanks for pausing there. We have no members online right now. And again, if you are watching the live stream and you want to join in right now, the Zoom invite is on the website that I mentioned earlier. I don't see anybody, Jason. There's nobody milling around out there. So yeah, I think if Director Roth, if you wanted to just proceed with the, please be advised the members of the board cannot receive new information, and
Sure.
then you'll have to ask for, you have to call for further representation of the board 3 times.
Okay. Please be advised that members of the Board of Directors cannot receive new information related to this bylaw between the end of this hearing and making a final decision on the bylaw. If any board member does so, the hearing could be invalidated and would have to be held again. With that in mind, does anyone have any final comments?
I'm good. Do you guys have any additional comments? Or thank you.
I call for the first time for any further representations on the bylaws. No comments. I call for the second time for any further representation on the bylaws. No comments. I call for the third time for any further representations on the bylaws. No comments. Hearing no further comments, I declare this meeting terminated. No more discussion.